Eterna is a secret I have never shared with anyone, Gabrielle. It has been the driving force in my life for as long as I can remember, and now I will stop at nothing to uncover it. Before I begin, I have to warn you, some of this will sound incredible, but every word is true, I swear. Eterna is a city.
A city? I've never heard of a city called Eterna.
No one else knows about it.
Well, who lives there?
Now, no one. It was a secret, ambitious experiment created in 1950.
Well, who was behind that experiment?
A group of international financiers. Some of the world's wealthiest men playing God for their own selfish reason. They built an entire city, and they populated it with hundreds of people. And everyone who entered there was required to take an oath of secrecy.
That's unbelievable. Where is it?
Right here, deep inside Lentana Mountain.
They built a city inside of a mountain?
Yes. And the entrance to that city is where Nikki Smith was born.
You're saying that they built a secret city inside of a mountain that is somehow connected to Nikki Smith. Michael, I think you're going too fast for me.
All right, look. Let's say you had a lot of money. More money than you could even count, and you wanted to put it in a secure place. What would you do?
I'd find the nearest bank.
Okay, but suppose the money was tainted somehow and that you were a prominent international figure who couldn't afford scandal.
You're saying the money is stolen?
Exactly. The bank doesn't look so good anymore.
No, I suppose not. But why go to all the trouble of building a secret city?
Because Eterna was a fortress designed to protect billions of dollars in hidden gold. These financiers were assuring themselves at everyone else's expense that their reputations would remain unblemished and their fortunes would be secure for generations.
Well, then why not a secret vault somewhere? Why go to all the trouble of building a city inside of a mountain?
The times were very frightening. The atomic age and the Cold War were harsh realities, and bomb shelters had become a multi-million-dollar business.
How did they function? All those people, how did they live without air and light?
An atomic generator provided the energy they needed. Food was grown in hydroponic gardens, and virtually every human need was supplied for this population of well-paid volunteers who agreed to live there and protect the gold. Yeah, I warned you, it was not going to be easy to believe.
Nothing remains a secret, not with so many people involved. Somebody would have leaked it. They would have told the story when they got out.
That's just the point. No one got out. Everyone who went in there thought they were going in for a one-year term. But the creators of this city knew from the beginning that it was going to be a glorified prison.
They knew that they were putting all those lives, they were locking them away for the rest of their life?
Yeah. People will do anything to protect what's theirs.
No, this isn't possible. Maybe your information isn't right, or it's just a hoax.
As wild as it sounds, Gabrielle, Eterna is not a hoax.
How can you be so positive? Where did you get your information?
Firsthand. As far as I know, I'm the only survivor of that doomed city.
Then your name isn't Michael Grande, is it?
My father's name was Albert Garrick. He was a brilliant scientist and structural engineer who one day was approached by a representative of an international clique of millionaires. This man asked him if he would be interested in designing something called Eterna, and he accepted.
Did you know what your father was up to?
I was only 4 years old, but I did sense that he was involved in some project and felt deeply passionate about it.
And you said that you lived there?
My father volunteered to live there for the first year with his family.
Then he had no idea that all the people in Eterna were being betrayed?
None whatsoever.
Well, what was it like? Was it run like a city?
Everyone wore uniforms. A governor was appointed by the creators, and I'm sure he was in on the plot. There was a citizens' committee elected by the Eternans, and I remember that my father was very involved in that committee.
But didn't the people protest or rebel when they found out that they were going to be there far longer than a year?
Well, there was a general panic. Everyone turned to the governor and the committee for guidance, but no one could do a thing in the face of the great lie that the city's creators had perpetrated.
What was that?
That my father was responsible for everyone's imprisonment. That his design for Eterna was somehow faulty, and that the escape mechanisms didn't function properly.
Did you have any communication with the outside world?
The governor cut it off.
You're saying he became a dictator?
Yes. I can still remember the father's eyes, I remember another kind of fear.
Fear of the governor?
Of the people.
But your father was trying to help them.
I know. But he knew it was only a matter of time before there'd be a full-scale rebellion. And that he, of course, would be a logical target. So, from that point on, my parents and I began to dig a secret tunnel to freedom.
Were you aware of what was going on around you?
I was 8 years old by that time, and my parents were very frank with me.
You must have been terrified.
I was. But my strongest memory is of my father's devastation when he realized that he had been betrayed.
I can't believe nobody attempted to help you.
Yeah. Anyway, when the rebellion started, the governor and some members of the committee were killed. My parents and I raced to the tunnel we'd been working on, but we discovered that sections of it had partially collapsed, leaving some very narrow passages.
My God, how did you get out?
There was only room enough for me to make it, and my parents insisted that I take the journey.
To get help?
To survive. It seemed like I was in that tunnel, digging and crawling for days before I finally reached the surface. After years of living underground and what seemed like countless hours in the total darkness of the tunnel, the sunlight was blinding. As soon as my eyes could adjust a little bit, I reached back and made sure I had my teddy bear. My very heavy teddy bear, a very special teddy bear, by the way, because my parents had replaced the stuffing with cash and bars of gold that would have made a new life for all three of us. I didn't know where I was or where I should go, but I figured I should start moving, so I just dragged this teddy bear just to get moving, and seemed like a real short time before a couple of hikers spotted me. They turned out to be very nice people, and they took me to safety and lodging.
Did you tell the hikers about the city in the mountain?
No, I did just what my parents had instructed me to do. I told them that I pretended anyway, that I had amnesia, and that all I could remember was my first name. My father had given me the name of a friend of his that he trusted, a fellow scientist who lived in Washington, but when I called to talk to this person, I discovered that he had died. So, Roosevelt and I were alone.
Roosevelt?
The name for my teddy bear.
Oh, I see.
Yes. As things turned out, Roosevelt is responsible for my financial empire, which I would trade this instant for a larger tunnel that my parents could have traveled with me.
Michael, you want to go back there because in your heart you think that they may still be alive.
No. If they weren't killed during the rebellion, they died years later during an explosion that probably destroyed the entire city.
Then why do you want to risk so much by going back in there?
Because I am convinced that the gold is still there, forgotten and lost unless I can find the city's fortress. And if I can, I will be richer and more powerful than all the kings and thieves who created the place.
No wonder you couldn't trust anyone with this. There must be hundreds of billions of dollars hidden in that mountain.
That's right.
Well, then why don't you just buy the land, look for the entrance to the tunnel, and dig your way back in?
I was a child, Gabrielle. I can't remember where that entrance is. The mountain area stretches for hundreds of square miles. It could take a whole lifetime to find even the right place to dig. That's why Vicki Buchanan is so important.
Vicki knows about the city?
She did, until a magician hypnotist named Lysander Clare saw to it that she lost her memory of that year.
Well, then why bother with Vicki?
Because no one erased Nicky Smith's mind. She saw the entrance to the tunnel, and she can tell us what we want to know.